For those of you who are missing out on what Wizkid Ayobalogo did with the documentary recently, Long Live Legacy, for those of you who do not understand, because I wouldn't blame so many people, right? Documentary is not something that everyone should, move into, especially if you don't have a story to tell. So Wizkid, having documenting this for years, knowing fully well that he's the right person to tell this story, has been doing this behind the scene. Like I said in my past video sometime last year, that Wizkid has been doing this. Documentary is not something you just wake up one morning and decide to do and publish or release to the people. No, it takes long hours, it takes years, months of planning, a lot of money spent and all that. So, but most people who actually have something to document are those who have story to tell. Now, what story exactly is Wizkid Ayobalogo telling? And this very story is something I personally have been saying here. Like, I've repeatedly said this thing, and that very thing revolves around how Wizkid is discerning, or was discerning enough to understand the modern Afrobeat. I mean, he dissected the modern Afrobeat while everybody was still singing the normal Afrobeat. Wizkid created a different path for himself and still recognized the faces like Fela. This is the main reason why I need to watch this documentary, because this documentary is more or less like putting my words into a polished format, into production, into storytelling by the very person who's supposed to tell it. Now,
when you see how far Africa has come, you cannot ignore the impact of Wizkid.
London, make some noise!
Now, the context of everything is how Wizkid actually sold Afrobeat on the global stage, and many people might not see the practical side of it, because many people are actually lost when it comes to certain data and how patterns actually work. Now, when it comes to the music industry, the modern Afrobeat with the S gained popularity during COVID-19. And it only took one soul to save or to grab that very opportunity to sell Afrobeats on a global scale. That was what Wizkid did from 2018 to 2019, and in 2021, 2022, when we are healing from the traumatic times of COVID-19, post-COVID trauma. During this period, people were actually forced compulsorily to stay in their homes, not by random individuals, but by the government, who, by the virtue of how things work, are their earthly gods. So they don't have any other option but to listen to the last command. Now, during this period, we are humans. Everybody from every corner of the world, we are trying to do one thing that is actually common, that ties everyone together: heal, find therapy. And how do you find therapy? Because movement were not allowed and all that. Everybody started looking for ways to heal virtually. That was when streaming platforms started rising, not just rising, started coming into Africa, because at that time, many people started zooming attention to Afrobeat, to Africa. This is no more stereotype. I mean, remember when people like Don Jazzy did a whole lot to come, people like Snoop Dogg paid a lot of money. People were forced, the audience were forced beyond stereotype, beyond what they've actually kept Afrobeat, beyond what they've actually kept Africa, always thinking that we are the last. We are forced to zoom into things that entertain them. You could imagine when people were entertained online, virtually, even watching wrestling online, watching also football online. So people were forced to find the right healing, and there's no other thing that heals mostly more than songs, things that heals us from a place of depth. Because most times music and songs are stories people tell, or emotions people pour out in tunes without even knowing. Now, those are the things that resonate with people and hits them differently. People were forced, no more stereotypes. That was when they knew that Afrobeat has everything it takes to heal them. It takes one shift. It takes one single shift to change a particular underrated industry or underrated person. That is the reason why you need to be prepared at all times. That is the reason why Wizkid has always been prepared. I always tell anybody that cares to listen, consistency is one thing that will never ever have a different shape, because it always comes with a result, and its result is always excellent. When people gossip, keep doing what you are doing, because you already see the vision. Many people will not see your vision, but Wizkid already did. That was exactly what he's telling in this whole story. He has always wanted to sell Afrobeat, the modern Afrobeat, outside corridors of Africa. Not that people are not going over there to conquer right now, but Wizkid opened that door for many of you. This is no more shade. This is just a reality, fact. And that is the reason why he knew he was the only person that could tell this story. That was the reason why he told it. This guy is writing his legacy that will speak for him till in perpetuum. I know that other people are doing so, but then we need to understand there are people who are intentional about some industries. While a lot of other people are doing it for fun, there are people who have dreams, goals, aspirations, things to win in the very industry that they are in. That is the reason why you always see them at the top. And when they win, you always say it's politics.
It's very, very important to also educate the world about our culture.
See, this documentary is not about Wizkid fans. It's about everyone, every Nigerian who have always rooted and loved Afrobeat, the modern Afrobeat. And I know how Afrobeat has actually sold Nigerians' image more than politics. And this is because of this very single guy who actually respect the shit that happened in COVID-19 to take Afrobeat, the modern Afrobeat, to the global stage. And that is the reason why the likes like Olamide, Ashake, Burna Boy, and so many will always be grateful to him. And this is the reason why in the documentary, he didn't even bother to go and gather crowd. That is the side of the documentary that shows that this is class. I watched the crew that directed, that produced this video, Africa No Dead There. The people who actually told the story are all Africans, but the people who actually directed it and produced it are not Africans, because Africans wouldn't have the capacity. Nigerians will not even have the capacity to direct such documentary. How many documentaries don't they put for Africa or even Nigeria alone? But the people who told the story, Femi Kuti, Sondare, Jada Palok, his partner, and so many other people who understood or who have been there with him.
Colonialists took away our soul, but things are beginning to change. Wizkid is a symbol of hope.
Honestly, if you want to understand the reason why Wizkid doesn't really have time for gossip, for shades, for fights, for beef, and all the rest of the things, watch this documentary. I've always said that there's a level to personalities. Wizkid is not just an Afrobeat artist. Wizkid is an awakened Afrobeat artist. And it takes only an awakened person to save an industry where there's so much sleep.
There was no blueprint for me. I had to build a structure for myself.
It's been tough for African artists to get respect.
Look, it's our time. Listen to us now.
This is definitely just the beginning.